What if the water you drink every single day is actually working against your health? I used to think water was just water until I started digging into what's really in it and what it's doing inside our bodies without our knowledge. And what I found honestly shocked me, especially when it comes to soda, acidity, and our own hydration. Let me share what I've been learning. Farmer Dan here, just driving again on my way to meet customers to sell our dairy products and farm products. Just wanted to chat a little bit about kind of a journey that I've been on and some things that I've been learning. This started about a little over 2 years ago now. I got introduced to Kangen water, which is ionized water, electrolyzed, reduced water. And that's kind of got me on this journey of just looking at what all that means and how it works and the benefits. We're always looking for new ways to improve our health. And, you know, water is something that honestly I've known that I should be looking at and cleaning up, but it's really easy to just kind of overlook it and not really even think about all the contaminants and really bad effects that the water that we're drinking has. And so that's kind of got me on this journey, and I've been reading a few books about keeping our body alkalized and how beneficial that is. There's been a lot of different studies and things. I can't remember the gentleman's name off the top of my head, but he back in the early 1900s, I believe it was, believed that the cancer was due to, or cancer can't grow in an alkalized environment. Now, you'll hear the arguments, well, yeah, but your body keeps your blood pH level in a certain range, and that's true. But what I'm finding out is the foods we eat, the water we drink, either make that balancing act easier on our bodies or harder. And it's interesting too. Now, our body works to keep it in a pretty tight range. It's like 7.35 to 7.45, which is not huge, but in our bodies it really makes a huge difference going from 7.35 to 7.45. In fact, the difference in our oxygen levels, now I believe it was 7, so it's not talking about our blood pH, but just pH in general, going from a 7 pH liquid to a 7.45 liquid, which again, it's only half a point, not even half a point, but that little difference has shown that our blood actually has about 65% more oxygen. So that's pretty significant. You know, while, you know, I don't know what the math is from 7.35 to 7.45, it doesn't change the fact that the more alkaline we are, or our blood is, the more oxygen, the higher the oxygen level is in our blood, which there's a lot of studies even showing, you know, how different diseases and even cancer can't live in an environment that's not only more alkaline but more oxygenated. Now, there's some people out there that believe we shouldn't be consuming anything that's acidic. Now, I don't hold true to that 100%. Yes, there's certain things that I 100% believe we shouldn't be consuming, but there's a lot of hype going towards a vegetarian diet. And while vegetables in general, it's not 100% the case, but in general, are more alkalized foods, and meats would be more acidic. But I'm one that doesn't hold to any particular diet per se, as far as the different trends of the carnivore, which is just all meat, or the vegetarian or fruitarian, vegan, which is, you know, getting away from all like animal-based foods, like no dairy, no eggs, things like that. And I just don't believe that that's the way God created our bodies. Like, I believe there's a balance, yes, and sometimes that balance is too far or swayed one way or the other. I think there could be benefits from trying one particular one for a time being. Like, if you are trying to lose weight, a carnivore diet's not a bad thing, especially if you get yourself in ketosis and start burning fat for fuel. But long term, I don't believe that's sustainable or good for our bodies. Same thing for a vegetarian. I think it can be extremely beneficial. It has a lot of the same benefits as just fasting. It's extremely beneficial for detox. And the fruitarian, their theory is, the water and the antioxidants that you get out of fruit is enough to sustain life. And I just don't believe that. That's my personal. You're welcome to disagree, and you're welcome to leave a comment. But I believe in more of a holistic approach, where I think we are carnivores in the sense we have canine teeth, to eat meat. But I think we can eat too much meat, not enough vegetables, and you have to find that balance. And I do believe everybody's a little bit different. Like, I don't hold to the fact that you shouldn't eat any carbs either. I think there's good carbs and bad carbs, the complex and things that are slower to metabolize, and so they don't give us that blood sugar spike. Now, I will say, when I say all this, I'm talking about real food. I'm not talking about processed foods. I'm talking about real whole foods, meats that are grown in a healthy environment and on grass, and dairy products the same. All the animal proteins and fats, are coming off of a grass, either 100% grass or grass-based diet, and organic fruits and vegetables. We eat. I don't do a lot because I am diabetic, so I do watch it, but the carbs I do eat will be some potatoes or sweet potatoes. Every once in a while I'll cheat on some of my wife's homemade sourdough bread. And I think, in a healthy, if you're healthy, those things I don't believe are bad. But again, I think there's a balance. I just look at centuries before and how they ate, and we didn't see the diseases we see today, even if they were consuming wheat and grains and things. But I think that's come from a lot of just hybridizing and making things easier on the farmer, but it's come at a sacrifice to our health. A lot of the new hybrid wheats, right, they're designed to be easier to process, but that also means they're higher in gluten, which would be considered an anti-nutrient. But I kind of digress. So I'm really wanting to just kind of talk about just the things that I've been reading about trying to keep our bodies in more of an alkalized state, and finding that balance. Because again, I don't believe eating meat because it's acidic means it's bad for us. But I do think the things that I'm learning, the problem is our bodies have reached a point where they can't keep up with getting rid of all that acidic waste. So even when we burn the food, right, we can convert the food we eat into energy, right? It's the whole mitochondria function and everything. Well, that puts off dead acidic cells that your body has to get rid of. It's part of what your body's designed to do. But what the problem is we've been so out of balance and eaten so many processed foods and fast foods and acidic drinks. Soda is probably soda and energy drinks, and even these sports drinks are so bad for you. They're extremely acidic. In fact, with the Kangen water machines that we have that changes molecularly it alkalizes the water through a molecular process, which is helpful because then your body, if you're buying alkalized water from the store, in my opinion, you're just wasting your money, and I can show that to you. It's because it's a chemical change by just adding sodium bicarbonate and different potassiums and things like that. As soon as it hits your body and your stomach acids, your body is turning those into acids versus the other way around. So just overloading on all these drinks that are not only not hydrating you, they're dehydrating you and causing your body to be in a highly acidic state. So when we've overloaded our system with all these acidic foods, the body ends up storing, because it can't get rid of it fast enough, so it starts storing these toxins in your body fat. And when that gets overloaded, it can go to your joints, and we wonder why we're dealing with so many chronic health issues and joint pains and arthritis and all this inflammation, when we're not giving our bodies what it really needs to get rid of these toxins, and we're just overloading our system. So that's where the Kangen water comes in, where it can help neutralize. But it literally takes 2 gallons of this Kangen water that I'm talking about to neutralize 1 can of soda. 2 gallons. Well, I promise you, you're probably not even drinking Kangen water, so you're doing really nothing to help your body neutralize that. And I'm not advocating drinking the soda and then trying to neutralize it with Kangen water. I'm saying, we should be eliminating these toxic acidic drinks for sure out of our diets, and just helping our bodies to detoxify and get rid of these acidic cells that are just accumulating in our bodies, and they wreak havoc on our health. They get stored in organs, and then you end up with different cancers. And in fact, a cancer is actually a cell that mutates. This is my understanding, what I read. I know there's a lot of different philosophies out there, but from what I've read and the research that they've done, they're saying a cancer cell is actually one of these dead acidic cells that doesn't get expelled, and your body actually ends up mutating it into this malignant cell that can end up accumulating, and that's what we see in cancer. So and I know that's I can't make claims here that anything's going to cure any disease, and just because there's been past results, that doesn't guarantee future results. But I do find it interesting that that's how the cells are formed. And I've heard other theories of just saying everybody has cancer cells within them, and it's in a weakened immune state, which I would say would fall into line with this. If we're going to sit there and say that a cancerous cell is developed from a mutated, dead, acidic cell that your body couldn't get rid of, it'd be kind of the same philosophy as saying, we all have cancer cells. That's what I've been learning lately. I'm excited to keep digging into how alkalized water and creating a more alkaline environment in our bodies can help our bodies heal. I really do believe our bodies are designed to heal themselves if we give them the right tools and stop feeding it a bunch of crap. And I'll be the first to admit, food is something I really struggle with. I do. It's something God's really working on me with, and just trying to sort that out. It is an addiction. I love to eat, and I love good food. And I think God, gave us taste buds for a reason. I don't think it's wrong to enjoy food, but I do think it can become an idol, and I believe it's an idol in my life that I'm working on. So those are some things that I've been reading and learning, and just wanted to kind of share that. I would love to strike up a conversation. If you want to, just share your thoughts, maybe things that you've learned, maybe you have some experience with conjugated water or alkalized water, done some of your own research, reading. Maybe you completely disagree with me. I'm okay with that. Love to chat. So just hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let's talk. Let's connect. Let's have some friendly conversations. So almost here at my stop. So I'm gonna just sign off for now, and we'll see you all on the next video. So Farmer Dan signing off.